The incarceration rate is down. The education rate is up. We up. We went from a group of men who were brought to this country in the hulls of slave ships. I know we got the pretendians out there that's saying that we still here, but the DNA test says otherwise, just like your baby mama. So for my brothers who know their history and know where we came from and know what we've been through for hundreds of years, the fact that over 60% of black men have now reached the middle class as a your seed is the most important thing that you produce in this world. It's not the art that you produce. It's not the buildings that you create. It's not the amount of money you make. It's not the amount of people who like you. It is your legacy.
But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Salute the black men.
Started with mama issues, afraid to question anything, that was that bitch in you. Grown ass men, we letting this shit continue. Adolescent feminine ways, why men offend you. Mama boy, she love thugs, her secret lover. That's why she keep these niggas inside the covers. Put the nigga aside, homie, I'm your brother. Close father saving us, having the same mother. Iron sharpens iron, we learning from one another. No jealousy or envy, going through life struggles. They told your mama you was outside, wanted to hang. Now you wearing colors and just joined the gang. No money, so the OGs taught you how to slang. Jackers rolled up and all you heard was bang. On the side of the curb, leaking out your brains. Quiet women sing, single mamas on skin. Black men, we gotta change. Salute the black men. We number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and the pressure getting lesser, cause we deserve the best of. Coming home from work and life issues, I just want a meal, end up with fights with you. You just need to chill, remember I'm right with you. So fucking masculine, swinging and I ain't hit you. What's your fucking issue? You don't love me, you love what I can get you. Don't let the kids you love be in the bitch you. 911 police saying I hit you. I got video footage, you lying bitch you. Why you think we locked up options with you? Making love to the enemy out to get you. That big ass and a smile might convince you. Graveyards that's filled, we on the menu. Penitentiaries packed, men continue to be the simps, and she provided the venue. No respect, so black men we've been through. Nigga,
Black
I feel
fathers
you.
are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie.
The black men, we number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and oppressor getting lesser, cause we deserve the best. I salute the black men. We number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and oppressor getting lesser, cause we deserve the best of.
Salute the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
the black men.
I salute
salute. Salute the black man.
Men, I want to salute.
Fuck your butt.
I like that.
Salute the black man.
Salute, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Simple Shit TV. I'm your host, Alvin Holden, also known as Project 8020, here with my brother, Broken Blade. What's up, Broken Blade? How you doing, sir?
What's up, man? I'm good.
Good, good, good. Okay. What's that?
Just finished the workout.
Okay. All right. I had to go run. That's solid. That's solid. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So you're all lubed up, ready to, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Pause. Pause. Okay. So I thought that I would give I didn't hit the points I wanted to hit in the way I wanted to hit them the other day. Uncle D has absolutely positively thrown an alley-oop as far as the roadmap is concerned. So I wanted to make sure I touched on that because I think that a lot of the issues that people have, or at least the things that they bring up right away, are easily refuted by Mr. Spurling very early in this whole situation. Why I got this bitch still up here? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was curious about that myself.
My bad. I was changing things and didn't get a chance to. I was like, this is a vag on there. My bad. Sorry. Like I said, though, but Hallie, if you ever, what's up, Hootsy? How you doing, sir? Shout out to Sheridan. What's going down? Who else is up in here? Probably people just listening on the low. Salute to everybody that might catch this on a replay. Broken Blade. I got a chance to review what we talked, what was the conversation that went on yesterday. I got a chance to, I had to listen back to it because I was like, did I handle that? Did I handle that the right way, or did I miss anything?
Yeah.
And I really did come to an interesting perspective. And I know for any of you guys that may not have gotten a chance to watch our conversation, our broadcast yesterday, we dipped into a couple of different things, the B-dubs, lovely ladies, reparations and so on, the N-word. And there was a debate, a conversation. And what are you off the top of your head? Like, was I off base? And again, if I'm
not at all.
If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, please. Was I off base?
Not at all. I think you present your argument well.
I think so. Go ahead. Sorry, my fault.
I think Freedom Journal had a point in how we react to the word. There is some truth in that, but at the same time, again, so many other words, like just this platform in and of itself, for example. Watching a Let's Play, I brought this up a few days ago. Guy got nervous playing a video game because he used the word cunt too much. But the hard R, not a problem.
Isn't that crazy?
It may not be the biggest issue, but it's a symptom of the disrespect we're expected by this country to take.
Right? Like, does it not start with that?
It starts with something.
Right. Okay. I'm okay, because if nothing, okay. So a couple of different places I wanted to go with this. So, and Friedman, you're more than welcome to come up and so on and so forth. I'm not going to talk bad about you or nothing like that. But what I did realize watching back is that the part that I'm not going to just sit here and talk down on my own, even if they're the worst of us. And there's something wrong with you not being able to understand that no matter what, is an association between me and this other man that looks like me, this other melanated man. And when push comes to shove, and our backs are pressed against the wall, I should at least look to him first for a hand, right? I would think so. And if I had an opportunity to give goodwill or help, you would think that that was what I would want to do, not sit back and hope and wish that something goes wrong, right? Like being jubilant, if I were to watch people, like for my own people to fall on their face, seems wrong to me. Right? Like he was like saying, like, I can't wait till y'all, you pay him and I can't wait till they get it. And and it's like, so you're hoping that there's proof of what? Your bigotry? Like that you were right? Like your bigoted opinion was correct? Like, why would you want to root for that? Even if it was correct, why would you want to root for that?
On the flip side, like, I don't think B-dubs would ever treat us with respect, get their head out of their ass and start thinking logically, like, okay, we need to work with the people that have shown us love and loyalty all this time. But I would love to be wrong on that.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. Yes. We'd love to be wrong.
So Doctor Strange alternate timeline, a collective, shit, we've been fucking up. Like, yes.
Yes, we can fix it. Yes, we can fix it. It's not too late. Yes, that's you know what I'm saying? But by but not recognizing that by repeating these tropes over and over and over again, especially publicly, the way that you've been doing it, it doesn't help our cause. It's detrimental. And for me to have to argue that point is crazy to me. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think in the moment I was like, all right, bro, you're being a contrarian. You're like, come on, let's go. And then it went right into ad hominem, which is kind of interesting, right? Insult. And I'm like, that's crazy, bro. Like, I'm down to have the conversation, but I'm not gonna let you insult me. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. I'm not. I hear what you're saying. I can read between the lines. Don't do that.
Like the plethora of issues we have in the community.
Yeah.
If we all can't come to a consensus that it's not cool to use a racial slur against us, just that one thing. Yeah, okay, this word needs to go because it's the meaning.
Yeah.
That's a small step to the vast miles we have to work to get our shit together.
Right.
And we're fighting on that one step.
It's that one step. And I had an epiphany last night, or when we were talking about it, like it was the first time I ever said it out of my mouth that way, is that what does it cost for you not to say something? Like, what does it cost for you not to say it? Like, just don't say it. Like, what's that cost? Like, how much? How much do we really pay to say the N-word for real? Like, think about that for a second. Like, you could just not say it. You really could. Like, you could actually just not say it. And I think fundamentally our lives in this country would change.
And think, how much would it cost both ways? I see what you're saying. No financial gain for us to just make an effort to stop using the word.
Ooh,
hold on. Hold on.
Say it again.
The cost both ways. I see the point you're saying. Like, it doesn't cost much. It doesn't cost anything financially for us to stop using the word to make the effort. But what if it costs us by using the word ad nauseum? It's emboldening the enemy. Like, okay, they don't see themselves as human. They call themselves that. So it should be cool. My trigger finger be a little bit itchy when I get out here.
I mean, that is what happens.
With a nice stick and try to reverse the jaw. Again, the ROI, as you brought up yesterday.
Yeah, shout out to Hootsie. Shout out to Hootsie. Shout out to Solo Dolo, bro. Thank you so much. I really truly appreciate you watching from the clouds. That's my brother right there. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get my stuff together over here. Shout out to Solo Dolo. Yeah, man. I was just thinking about it. I'm like, what would it cost? It wouldn't cost a thing for just to stop saying it. Just stop saying it. That's all it would take. Just not say it one day. And the idea that these people, and again, bro, it's a slur. It's so crazy. It's a slur. It is a slur. The fact that I have to fight to try to, anyways, I don't know. In more conversations I keep hearing, and the more I keep seeing how it's used, and it's a battering ram against us. And I'm gonna push harder. I don't know, man. I think I might have to go out on my shield on this one. Like, I really do. I don't know what kind of pressure we got to put pressure on, who we got to put pressure on, whether we have to like talk to the athletes and the freaking people that make music first or what. I don't know. But the more we have these conversations, I really start to understand that disrespect starts there. Like that, the majority of the disrespect, because these people have, it's like the one thing that makes it like, you're goddamn sure it's lower than you, that this person or this thing is lower than you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this like ultimate trump card. And I know how Black people feel like, oh, we're taking it back and whatever. Look, once again, if you really took it back, we still wouldn't be out here busting people's heads over it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They wouldn't use it the way they use it. We wouldn't hear it the way we hear it if we really took the what you call it away. Right? Like, it's so crazy how all these people magically understand how that word works when they're mad at a Black person. You know what I'm saying? It's like magically all of a sudden that word that they've never said ever, that's completely out of their vernacular, out of nowhere, all of a sudden pops up and they know how to use the hard R. Get the fuck out of here. Like, what are we talking about?
I gotta push back on one.
What part, please?
Just specifically, like philosophically, 1000% I'm with you.
Yeah, please.
Like, do you think it's worth going on your shield on? Like, just try to like, again, that was something that should have been a no-brainer.
I don't know. I don't
debate. Like, the words they keep coming up to, for me. I brought it up a lot on Uncle D's channel, Herculean and Quixotic.
Bro, I am having a good time making people look stupid, trying to justify to me how this is a good word. I'm not lying.
Yeah, that I agree with. I'm talking about
philosophy. I mean, I don't know. It brings me joy. I'm the more I have this conversation and the more I hear people say stuff and, oh, back in the day it was negus and it was it means it was a king. You know, like, yeah, but that's not what it means right now. Yeah. That's not what it means over here. Not on this side. On this continent, they did something completely different than what they did over there. It means something different over here. So on this side, I think we should do away with the word altogether. Anyways, shout out to
my whole thing, my main point, like going out on the shield for like there's been so many cases of Black men trying to do right, trying to help out the community to their great detriment, to the loss of their life. Yeah. And little nothing has changed for it, is what I'm saying.
I feel you. No, I feel you. I feel you. I think more than anything, I see it as a just cause. I see it as just a just cause. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, I see it as a just cause. Just like, you know, figuring out what to do with all the, like, let's, okay, maybe not go that, maybe that iron's too hot. Hold on, let me go before I get, you know, before I get
like the other country, like talking earlier, like some spot in Alaska, just watch this shit burn.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck, man, like small step.
Sometimes. Yeah. Like I said, man, I just as we try to, I don't like losing. I hate losing. I hate being on the losing side. I hate being on the losing team. I do not like losing. And if I can improve our position as a group, I'm going to do that. if I figure out if we have an edge, why is it that it's only us that's not allowed to group up and like do stuff together? Like you go to, bro, there's a spot in Fremont where all these Indian families live together. India, like a whole, like multiple zip codes, and they're like nice areas too. Right? There's Chinatown. There's all the small hats they have there, whatever, the financial, like every other group is allowed to get together and like pool resources and like start businesses and do stuff. But then more than a couple of us stand on the corner together and it's like, what y'all doing? What's going on around here? You guys break it up, no loitering. Like what's with that? I just don't understand it. Right. And then that very same, like us, you know, playing ball together and going to the gym together and doing stuff together. And like, what's the first thing our women complain about? Oh, y'all, why y'all always trying to hang out with each other? Y'all must like each other or something. Y'all must be gay. It's like
the perfect saboteur.
Right? It's like, why do you not bother any of these other dudes? Right? Like Julio and them down there playing basketball or playing soccer. Like, do you... Lupe is with them. Like, why are you like, what are you tripping on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really going on? Anyways, I don't know. It's just shocking that so many people can't see how we're treated. You know, it's just like y'all get heavy handed with these other, these other groups. Now I can't lie to you. The Latinos, they done messed around.
That's not minor, bro.
They done messed around and they starting to F around and find out. Uh-oh.
Or what?
Turn around.
Or what?
Uh-oh.
Go. Go. Emmer, stop, bro.
Oh, shit. They're used. They're used. Now,
That's not minor, bro.
Now, that's a kid. Now, here's the part where I got concerned a little bit. Okay. So the choke that he's about to have this kid in.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a pretty serious situation that you're in. And if the person that's putting this thing on has it in its mind that he wants to leave you lifeless on the ground, he could really do that. Like from that particular position.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is that if you're on the bottom side underneath there and he's doing that to you, and even when training, you would tap out to let him know it's too deep, can't breathe. And you can separate someone's spine that way. You can absolutely not just put them to sleep. You can absolutely separate their spine that way. So this guy's doing this choke and the person underneath, I mean, even if they tap out, this cop can decide not to let go. Like he really could.
Back up! No one's doing shit, bro. Back up!
It should be stressing me out, dog. I can't lie. It should be stressing me out. I'm gonna watch this back, and there's gonna be a split second where I'm pretty sure I was standing right there for a second. I'm pretty sure that there's like a split second where my mind left my body for a moment.
He can't breathe, bro. Watch out! You're fucking choking him.
No.
Let him the fuck be. Go.
Broken Blade. Before I get back to where we were a second ago, if you're on the ground being choked and there's a cop on top of you like that in a situation like this, I got to tell you, bro, I'm probably going to catch a charge. I'm going to catch a charge. There's no way I'm going to allow that. There's nothing in my heart that would allow me to do that. I'm going to check. We are going to jail together, sir. we're going to go to jail together. I will never, ever, ever let that go down. I got to put that shit on record. I'm never going to stand around and let somebody do that to somebody that I know. I'm never going to let it happen.
Appreciate that.
Not like that. Not like that. I understand what that's. I'm going to have to make a decision. And we might mess around and get shot. We might get tased. But I will never let this fool choke you out on the street like this. I won't do it. He's going to have to choke us both. I just can't. I cannot, bro. There's no way there's no way I would allow that to happen. I just wouldn't. I don't know. Some people just aren't. I guess some people are could just stand around like that. I guess you have no friends.
No.
Back up.
Yeah, bro.
He can't breathe, bro. Watch out.
We're gonna have to go on the run. We're gonna have to go on the run, dog. There's no way. I'm sorry.
He's fucking 14. Hey, stop fucking choking him. Get your mother off his head, bitch. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? That's a fucking kid, bro. You're fucking choking.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you hear that? Hold on.
Go for it.
Hold on.
What the fuck are you doing? That's a fucking kid, bro. That's a fucking kid, bro. That's a fucking kid, bro. You're fucking choking him. Watch your back. You have to have your back. You can't fucking breathe. Watch your head. You fucking back from me. Hey, fucking shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? You can't fucking stop. You fucking breathe.
Also, both of these officers look Hispanic to me.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it hit the same when they watch that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just know how it felt when I'm always watching my doppelgangers get choked out.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they be really feeling that shit when their doppelgangers be getting choked out. I'm just asking. It's for real. Because because we've been hearing all these people having like so much sympathy and empathy for these people that are being taken out of the country. And I'm like, oh, so you do know what sympathy is. You do know what empathy is. Huh? That's fascinating. That's crazy. It's fine. It's interesting to find out what it took to get that out of you. That none of the other stuff, we all that other stuff, we wouldn't see any sympathy or empathy there. But this, I get a sympathetic ear. That's interesting. Huh? Anyway, so look, Uncle D has been on fire lately. He's been uploading the roadmap, which I really truly appreciate. It's given us some arguments and some ways to present information. And it backs up it backs us up. It backs us up. And it helps give us the type of the energy we need, and it helps give us the roadmap. But before we get into the deep stuff, I just wanted to say this real quick to the haters. This is for the haters. This real quick. This is for the haters. Shout out to the haters.
Listen. It is. Some of y'all can't help it. Some of y'all can't help tricking. Some of y'all got a soft spot for hoes. Why? Because you was raised by a hoe. Damn, did Uncle D just call my mama a hoe? Yes, your mama is a hoe too. Your mama's a hoe. Your grandmama's a hoe.
I got up the camera, but don't call me no hoe.
all your sisters and your aunties are hoes.
I'm not hoe, and I'm not on the list of hoes.
You don't believe me? Go ask your mama how many abortions she had.
5 abortions.
Go ahead. She might have 1 or 2 kids. How many abortions did she have?
Times I've had friends, I've had an abortion. I'll speak about that openly. I was 19 years old. I still sit with the grief of that. I sit with the shame of that. It's very nuanced. It doesn't mean we make that choice. It doesn't mean we're happy about it.
Your mama's a hoe too. Your mama was a hoe in the 70s and the 80s and
What happened to my $100, Joe? Did you take my money?
Yeah, here's $2. Go get you some dish pie and keep it clean for me next time.
You know what the I'm talking about. Stop lying. You know what your mama was doing when Mr. Larry came through and put you in the front room with your little Atari game and your little earphones on with your little tape. You know what your mama was doing in there, boy. You probably went in there and peeped in the window and she looked under the goddamn floorboard, the door to see what the is going on. Why mama in there making all that noise?
Oh, make it up here they go, man. Yeah, church tabernacle.
Some of
Oh, you breathing, bro?
There you go. So, before we get super duper deep,
Game.
Say what?
Long live the Blizzard game.
Right? It's just funny. Your mama a hoe. Look, real quick, we're gonna refresh. We're gonna see how these people really feel about us real fast, Broken Blade. We're gonna see what's going on here. Let's have Uncle D kind of set the table. Just talk about what these tethers be talking about here. Let's
no longer go by African American.
I like
we
that.
Can't be 2 nations at one time. We just
Right.
American. We're the only Americans. Even white people are not American.
Okay.
African people can't be African and American because it says the 14th Amendment that was only supposed to be for the descendants of so-called slaves.
Okay.
The POWs.
All right.
You feel me?
See, here's the thing, and I know the brother is trying to get his words out, but until you have an actual coherent message, it just still throws confusion. We are foundational Black Americans. I like the term invented by Brother Tariq Nasheed because it keeps the Black American part that we become used to, and it just adds foundational, that adjective on. So it doesn't really change the word. It just becomes more concise. But let's continue listening. This, brother, I want you to hear this. This is important.
And real quick, for all of those that do not know what foundational Black American is, that was exactly it. I just want to go ahead, just for those that might have missed it. In fact, let's run this back real quick. Let's run it back real quick.
For the descendants of so-called slaves, the POWs, which is us. You feel me?
Here's the thing, and I know the brother is trying to get his words out, but until you have an actual coherent message, it just still throws confusion. We are foundational Black Americans. I like the term invented by Brother Tariq Nasheed because it keeps the Black American part that we become used to, and it just adds foundational, that adjective on. So it doesn't really change the word. It just becomes more concise. But let's continue listening. This, brother, I want you to hear this. This is important.
A lot of research. Mind you, I'm from there. I was born in Africa. I was born in West Africa, where they came and they took my people and made them slaves and to the
my people.
That whole process.
Notice how Africans, when they come to this country, they say my people because it puts them in line with foundation. It allows them to be lined up with foundational Black Americans, and it gives them somewhat a cover. Okay. And I understand strategically why you would do that, because you need the cover provided to you by foundational Black Americans. But do you really feel like we the same people? Because it seemed to me like, when you do something good, the flags come out, and you just discard it. When something bad has happened, you let that be some Black people. Shout out to LTD.
Process. Yeah. But I didn't know much about slavery until I came to America. So why they didn't teach me this in the 3rd grade and 4th grade in Africa?
So y'all know I literally been to Africa, right? And when I was in Africa, like exactly what she's saying, like nobody knew about the whole slave story. I even met an African who was very intelligent and told me that we're not from there. We're from America. That's why we look so different. That's why we have different cultures. And that's why wherever I go, they call me, oh, American girl. Oh, American girl.
So in other words, the sister is telling you that these people don't see us as the same people. So why do y'all have such an affinity for Africans? And why do you even maintain this affinity for Africans? Why you can't see them for how they see you? We're not the same people. This is what they're saying. Different culture, different language. We look different. We might be of African descent, but hell, everybody's of African descent at this point. Just think about it. Let's keep listening.
Oh, we love American girls. Nobody thought I was African. Nobody said I was back home. They all said, why was I even there? Why did I come? I wanted to experience a different culture, a different nationality. And I wanted to learn the truth from the horse's mouth. But she's absolutely correct. When you go to Africa, they don't even know about the Atlantic slave trade. They talk about how they were enslaved and they had their own slavery that they went through being enslaved by Europeans. Hence why they speak European languages, but they have no recollection of us being taken from Africa to America. Wake up and love you.
Well,
keep listening. If you look on the timeline, the history of the United States is still fairly brief.
I just wanted to get to this part real quick because here's one of my points. Okay. This gap, and Broken Blade, if I'm preaching to the choir, we've spoken about this before. This gap between the end of slavery. I mean, let's just not talk. We can't, aside from how barbaric chattel slavery really was, and then the slick shit that they did afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of these immigrants that are speaking know anything about that time. We're talking about hundreds of years, right? Bro, the majority of the borders in African countries are barely 60 and 70 years old. So all of these people that are trying to act like just because their peoples have been in maybe the same places or the same areas or the same maybe like alleged country area, their countries were called something else less than 60, 70, 80 years ago. Yeah. And it was named by a white man or a white woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these are the people that are talking shit, which I find to be interesting. And then they're talking shit while they're wearing our stuff, stealing our swag, and still got the nerve to try to insult us as a group, which I find to be fucking fascinating. And then the more I started to look at it, the more agitated I started to get. I'm like, motherfucker, you're wearing Timbs. Like, what are we talking about? You got a Raiders bubble jacket on. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're wearing Jordans, but got the nerve to talk shit, and not only have the nerve to talk shit, but not even understand our relationship in this country. To get to actually fix your mouth to say that these people don't deserve reparations. The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. That is your answer, immigrants, tethers. Because guess what, Broken Blade? We got one in the crosshairs, and I've been laying low trying to decide whether or not I want to get confrontational on the internet, because I'm like, you know what? It's the internet. And I want to play this straight. So this is
petty about this shit too. So I'm game either way.
Right? I feel you. But I feel like we should give an opportunity for all of those that think they know something about this particular subject to maybe just sit down for a split second. Right? Maybe Uncle D is intimidating because he's a lawyer. He's accomplished. I'm a nobody. So I'm going to be the nobody to let everybody know that, hey, y'all need to just sit down for a second, and I'm going to take you along on the ride. See, Uncle D did a lot of the heavy lifting already. So salute to him. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you get over there, subscribe to his channel. Uncle D he laid the groundwork. The blueprint is absolutely positively there. Whether or not you got the balls, the cojones to actually follow through is entirely up to you. But I'm going to and shout out to Freeman's Journal, bro. What's up, bro? We were talking about you earlier.
And slavery was abolished a mere 155 years ago. It wasn't just the White House that was built using slave labor, by the way. The building that serves as our country's political center, the United States Capitol, was built and rebuilt using slave labor after its sacking in the War of 1812. Although most northern states had abolished slavery by 1804, it's had its fair share of symbols erected using slave labor. If you're familiar with the Trinity Church in New York's financial district, you may not know that the clergy rented enslaved people to build its iconic spires, as well as the wall that used to snake down what we now know as Wall Street.
I'm also unofficially aware that there's a whole bunch of black people buried up under there too, slaves under there.
So the church was even using black people as slaves. This is what I want you to understand. This is how much we were exploited as people. But that's a conversation for another day. But this is something they know that the debt is being paid. All right. But nobody is approaching this the right way. Let's go ahead and get this ball rolling by getting this.
Now, shout out to Hootsie. He said they made us walk around the tree of forgetfulness. Yeah, they sure did. They absolutely positively did. And so some not a bunch of them knew what they were doing. They knew what they were sending us off to. They understood. Shout out to Hootsie, bro. They didn't forget. They know. They try to play dumb. But they know. So shout out to Uncle D, because like I said, man, he really did lay it out for us. I really appreciate him for doing it. Also, the videos that we're reviewing today that we're talking about, he broke them up into small pieces. I put them in the description of this video. So if you're curious to know where I'm getting this from and you want to get it, it's already in the description of this video. All three of these clips. Shout out to the International Quiet Storm. And once again, Freedom Journal, what's popping? Uncle D, go on ahead and tell them.
Blah. They took the payments. They helped destroy millions of lives, including the lives of their own cousins, brothers, and neighbors. So don't tell me we want justice if you're not ready to go all the way back to the beginning.
Go to the beginning.
Reparations can't be about emotion, family.
Nope.
It must be about responsibility. And legal responsibility starts at the origin of the injury. My job is simple. Follow the facts. Follow the law and make the foundation of Black Americans whole again. No apologies, no exceptions. See, we're having a real conversation today.
Yes, we are.
See, a lot of us foundational Black Americans have spent years romanticizing Africa. Some of y'all had little African medallions on. Some of y'all still refer to Africa as.
I had an Afro, a pick with the fist, and I had one with the continent of Africa on it. I had all of that stuff. Had a little kente cloth. So I agree.
With the red and green.
Yeah, right. Shoot.
The motherland, the homeland. We look at the continent like it's some kind of ancestral utopia. We adopt African names and wear kente cloth and speak about the motherland with mythical reverence. But here's the cold, hard truth. Africa was not just the victim of the transatlantic slave trade. It was a co-conspirator. Now, I know some people are clutching your chest right now. They'll say, oh, but Dennis, slavery in Africa was different. They'll say they didn't know what was happening in America.
No.
And the worst one, you can't blame modern African countries because they didn't even exist back then. Well, let's deal with that.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Step by step. Shout out to the jelly jar.
So the transatlantic slave trade lasted nearly 500 years. But the sub-Saharan slave trade, where they were taking Africans across the Sahara Desert by Arab traders, that lasted 1,600 years before that. It was 1,600 years it was around. So you mean to tell me, a thinking man, that for over a millennium and a half of selling their own people, these African elites didn't know what they were doing? Let me educate you. There were African slaves who freed themselves, rose to power, and then turned right back around and sold others into slavery. That's not ignorance, that's strategy. That's full participation. These weren't illiterate tribesmen being manipulated by the white man. We're talking about kings and generals and merchants, people like King Gizo of Dahomey, who made his kingdom's economy dependent on slave raiding and warfare. What about King Alfonso I of the Congo, who corresponded in fluent Portuguese with the king of Portugal, begging for more priests and guns while still participating in the slave trade? What about the Ashanti rulers who traded enslaved people for muskets, brandy, and textiles and operated with the full awareness of the Atlantic system? Some of these men had Portuguese last names. I'm talking about the kings. They dressed in European fashion and they sent their children to be educated in Catholic schools in Lisbon. They knew exactly what they were doing in the so-called New World. They weren't in the dark. They weren't in a room at the table. They weren't swinging through the trees. They were educated men. They were profiting. Shout out to Gloria Sabre.
Now, you know what's funny? Because with all this stuff going on over in Africa right now with Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, I've also been watching ECOWAS, which is the African version of NATO, if I can be right. And Nigeria's in there and all the Western countries and seeing how they conduct themselves and seeing this like polar opposite, like doing so a group of leaders that are doing the thing that Africa should have done from the very beginning, it makes it very obvious who isn't and which leaders are being bought and paid for. It's very clear what it looks like. And I think it's going to be an interesting dichotomy when these rulers from one side are being questioned, because other blacks are going to look, right? Like other blacks are going to look at this group and like, wait a minute, you guys don't owe any more money. Like, you're growing your own food. Like, wait, you could just kick the whites out. Like, you just kicked them out. Like, wait, what? We could have just done that. We could have just been like, no, we're not sending money anymore. Wait, we could have just done that this whole time. We could have just not sent them any money and that could have been it. Right? All these other countries are going to be figuring that shit out. And I am very serious about, Uncle D is not joking about this. He is absolutely not joking. There is legal standing to do what's being done right now. So you got to think, because if he pulls this off, if we pull this off, floodgates open up from the United States side. Their people are going to be looking at them like, wait, what? Like, how much did you get paid? Because in that whole situation, information is going to come out as to what their roles were at that time. And at the same time, you're looking at countries to the east of you that are landlocked, that have figured it out. Suddenly they're making their own food and doing their own stuff. And all of a sudden they create this like middle class, and they're prideful, and they're like happy with, I mean, look, Traore tried to step down and they were like, no. No. We keep doing what you're doing, bro. You're good. Stay right where you're at. You're good. Everybody's cool with it. We're good. Yes. Keep doing what you're doing.
I agree with that completely. Because someone else might fuck it up.
Bro, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Where like, even if they tried to hide it, I don't think they could. Like, they collectively as an entire country were like, nah, all of them, like all three countries. I know that Traore kind of, I think he's the most, he maybe looks the part a little bit more for whatever reason. Everybody, you guys look like y'all could be cousins, by the way. I just don't put that shit out there. But I don't know whether it's just looks or just how he operates or how he moves, right? Because there's three other countries they're all together.
Right.
So, but for whatever reason, he's got the most heat, seems like the other leaders aren't taking the same kind of, right. Like, they didn't call out.
That in and of itself might make him the proper leader. He can carry the weight.
Yeah. I mean, it looks that way. It looks that way. It looks that way. Anyways, let's let Uncle D help lay this out for us.
So when modern day apologists say, well, Ghana didn't exist in 1750, they're right. But that doesn't matter. And let me explain why. As an attorney who drafted this law, I'm going to tell you how the Successor State Liability Act works. In the foundational Black American Slave Trade Restorative Justice Act of 2025 that I sent to Trump and the two Texas senators and all these other intelligent.
And we're going to go over that in just a second.
People. And the proposal, I make it very clear. Modern nations can be held accountable as successor states to the historical kingdoms that committed human rights violations. The law uses language and precedents similar to what's found in cases of Nazi-era restitution or JASTA lawsuits against Saudi Arabia. And it defines an African sovereign as any modern nation that succeeded or inherited the territory, government, wealth, or legacy of a historical regime materially involved in the post-1808 transatlantic slave trade. These successor states benefited economically, politically, and socially from the wealth accumulated through the trafficking of our Black bodies. And many
confirmed by Thomas Jefferson himself, by the way. I just thought I would put that out there.
Continue to preserve national heritage and monuments and traditions rooted in those same empires. It doesn't matter that Benin wasn't called the homie anymore. Just like Germany was held accountable for the Nazis, or Turkey for the Ottoman Empire, successor liability applies. This is a standard legal doctrine in international law. Hell, it's a standard legal doctrine in corporations law. And when you look at Section 6 of the proposed legislation, I explicitly waive sovereign immunity for those nations in cases involving violations of human rights, like slavery and forced labor. So for those saying Ghana didn't exist, understand, the kingdom of Ashanti did. The kingdom of Dahomey did. And today's African nations carry the political, geographic, and legal inheritance of those kingdoms. That's the legal basis, and that's how we go forward. So let me be clear. This isn't about hating Africa. This isn't about shame or division. It's about honesty, accountability, and justice. You cannot heal what you refuse to confront. And you can't claim to want reparations if you're willing to go all the way back, if you're not willing to go all the way back to the source. I'm not asking anyone to pick up a sword.
Now, Broken Blade, what is your first, have you always been okay with reparations? Was there a moment where you were like, reparations, what is that? Like, what is your first kind of experience? Because that wasn't exactly something that I got early in school. That wasn't something that they like offered up. That was just something that you hear personally. Like, when were you aware of reparations? And then how was it presented to you, if you can remember?
Oof. I don't remember, years ago.
Yeah, right. I can't remember specifically either, but I remember even it being spoken about in a way of like being kind of dismissive, almost like it was like people were hating on Black people and they were like, you're like begging for reparations. Like that's kind of how it, and I'm like, reparations, what is that? You know, like that was how I can.
First time I heard it, I think it was a comedian made a reference to it. But it wasn't so much, when I first heard it, it wasn't so much like dismissal, like insults, but more like, they owe, but it'll never happen type of energy.
Yeah, we get that a lot, right? And then, well, you know what's been really funny? The last couple of times people have maybe said something to me about it, I think that they thought that even if I was in favor of reparations, I don't believe that they thought that I had legitimate answers.
Right.
And so I display that I got answers. I got legal standing. I got a couple of different ways we can get there, but we can absolutely get there. Here, you got some time. I can sit down and talk to you about it. And they're shocked, like shocked. Because I think everyone has defaulted to just like, oh yeah, that would never happen. It could never happen. It would never happen. It could never happen. And dismissed about it and like kick the can down the road, and it becoming this thing that this mythical thing that could just never ever happen. And that was just the excuse that they used as to why it couldn't really happen.
Yeah.
But no one ever actually gave me a reason, you know? Shout out to Hootsie. He says reparations can resolve accrued disadvantage. Absolutely. And I don't even see a problem. I mean, I see a problem with it. I mean, we know what the problem is. We know why it's a problem.
Yeah.
But saying that they can't do it is not it's like they won't do it. Be honest. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hootsie. He said reparations can resolve accrued disadvantage. I agree 110%. Shout out to my bro Hootsie. Shout out to Hootsie. Yeah. Let's let Uncle D rock.
I'm telling you to pick up the law and use it, because this time we're not begging, we're suing. Now, look, you know, in this era of social media and digital echo chambers, there's been a dangerous rise in misinformation, particularly when it comes to the origins of Black people in America. Look, there's a growing trend online of charlatans telling us that every African person in America is actually descended from Native Americans. And that somehow our true lineage is not African, but Comanche or Cherokee or Choctaw, and so on and so forth. Now, while it's true that some Black folks may have Native American ancestry, let's be intellectually honest here. The DNA tests don't lie. The same one that showed you that little big head boy that don't look nothing like you ain't your child also shows you that you are 9 times out of 10 of West African lineage. The genetic data shows clearly that Native Americans were not sub-Saharan Africans. The indigenous peoples of the America had a distinct genetic, cultural, and geographic origin. And while there are fascinating stories like the one of Abu Bakr II, the Malian ruler who allegedly sailed to the New World with 200 ships in the 14th century, these are still largely matters of folklore, not fact. I grew up in the era where people like Dr. Shaka Musa Barashango were challenging the mainstream narrative, and I appreciate the cultural awakening that came from his work. I watched his lectures back in the 1990s. And one that sticks out to me is European holidays in the African Holocaust. He planted seeds of pride. Okay?
Pride. Planted seeds of pride. Think about that for a second. Can we, I mean, that's where I think that's one of those things that I think is a missing element. Right? It's pride. I like, I get that what Freeman's Journal was saying the other day was like, it's just the word, right? Because we're and I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to say that I'm mixing emotions with like the real thing. And where I understand that, how you feel also dictates how you move and how you operate, right? Now, if I'm proud and I'm a proud Black man and somebody insults me, if I'm proud of who I am as a person, I'm not going to let that affect me, or it's less likely to affect me. And I'm more likely to zig instead of zag, or zag instead of zig, whichever one is the better decision. I'm more likely to make the right decision if I'm proud of who I am as a person. But if I'm a weak person, if I'm worn down, if society continues to beat me and I'm on the down and out and I don't feel good about myself, I'm likely to crash out.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So like trying to say that feeling it's not, I'm not trying to say that it's irrelevant. What I'm simply saying is that when it comes down to having a little bit of pride in who we are as a people, I see a benefit. Everyone else can be proud. Why is it that we can't be proud? Anyways, let's come back to Uncle D. Were you gonna chime in? Were you gonna say something?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay, let's see.
But he never told us to replace fact with fantasy. And here's the fact: the vast majority of Africans are descendants of enslaved Africans forcibly brought to the America during the transatlantic slave trade and bred here in breeding farms. They were shipped all over, from Brazil to Barbados to Louisiana to Lima. In the United States, it wasn't just importation, it was the industrialized reproduction. I spoke about that.
Industrialized reproduction. That's what makes American chattel slavery different than every other slavery. For all of you guys that do not know, now I know that my group, the people that are here normally, we already know this stuff, but this is for anybody that might catch this on a replay or might just stumble onto our video. The difference between chattel slavery and every other slavery is what this gentleman said just a second ago. Hold on a second.
Here. Brought to the America during the transatlantic slave trade and bred here in breeding farms.
They
were shipped all over, from Brazil to Barbados to Louisiana to Lima. In the United States, it wasn't just importation, it was the industrialized reproduction. I spoke about that.
Industrialized reproduction of Black bodies. That's what they did here. That's how this country got so wealthy so quickly. That's where the money is, which is why we deserve and have earned reparations, because this is how we got rich as a country.
Farms, the most important plantations that are never talked about, breeding farms.
Boom. So, Alvin. So Broken Blade. Uncle D really worked it out and gave us an example. Now he hasn't given us all of the examples, but this is just a path. This is a path to get to where we need to get to. What are your thoughts so far? I mean, because I mean, yeah, what are your thoughts? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just the argument that we're all indigenous people. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
I understand, like, the truth sucks.
Yeah.
It can be painful, but
yeah,
those of us that done like DNA tests, we know, like, we know our origins, our genetic origins.
Yeah.
Like, just now I was looking for my phone. I have 1.5% Native American in me. The bulk of my blood is sub-Saharan African, 21.2 European.
That's a big old 21. It's like that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like kind of close to, it's kind of close. Somebody you know?
Doubtful.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot. 21. It's like, I mean, we're a different group. You know what it was for me? It was the time. It's a perspective, right? Like, a lot of us have been over here for a long time already, right? Like, even like if we came out of the breeding farms, if we were some of the last people that came on the boats, you know, there was you got to think 4 million at least. I would imagine there was some blacks that were already here. And then again, you couldn't just travel around either. If you had dark skin, they could just snatch you up and put some chains on you and there was nothing you could do about it. Like, it was dangerous moving around. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it was like only the Seminoles and the people that were in the swamps and were able to keep others out. That's how they were able to keep from getting snatched up, because they were snatching up everybody. But anyways, here is the actual act that Uncle D, I believe, drafted and sent on to the White House, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go.
Titled The Foundational Black American Slave Trade Restorative Justice Act of 2025, designed to establish federal jurisdiction for civil actions against successor African states whose predecessors participated in these post-1808 transgressions. I have also developed a complementary executive order to be issued by the President of the United States. The executive order formally establishes an interagency task force to investigate the successful African states' involvement, recommend legal and diplomatic remedies, and assist the development of federal legislation. Legal constitutional basis. I want the people in the back to pay close attention, because many of you all, every time we bring up reparations, you armchair lawyers always try to give me reasons why it won't happen. And I'm telling you, as that in the United States of America, we can do any darn thing we want to do, especially enact laws. Okay, listen to this. More than 2 centuries ago, the act prohibiting the importation of slaves in 1807 made it a federal crime.
Federal crime.
To traffic enslaved Africans to the U.S. after January 1st, 1808.
Boom.
Yet, as documented with slave ships like the Clotilda and the Wanderer, illegal trafficking continued, with many African kingdoms acting as collaborators.
I just want to fill in the gaps here. That means that we were growing our own slaves here, and we made it illegal for you to bring new ones in. So we wanted to make all the slaves here, and we wanted to either keep them and sell them domestically or sell these brand new slaves internationally. So we didn't want anyone else bringing them in. So we made it illegal for anyone else to bring them in to protect the businesses that we had here. That is what we did. We legislated slavery, and we made it illegal for you to bring other slaves in. That means that any boat that came here after 1808, which lots of them did, all the way until 1865, which a lot of them did, would be deemed illegal. So that is a block of Americans, Africans, African-American slaves that could make the case that them being brought over here was illegal. Let's let Uncle D continue.
in direct defiance of U.S. law. And this proposed act establishes federal jurisdiction for civil actions, which means money. Somebody type money in the chat room.
Money.
For civil actions against successor African states. Somebody type successor state in the chat room.
Successor state.
Okay. Whose historical regimes participated in the illegal post-1808 trade. What that means is when you take over another country or nation, a kingdom or whatever, you don't just inherit their land and their benefits, you also inherit their debts. Oh. And so the kingdom of Ghana, they might not be there, but the country of Ghana exists.
Yep.
All those countries, the nations, they're the successor state.
Yep.
And see, this follows the precedent, and I laid it out there because I want Trump to see. Mm-hmm. It follows the precedent set by the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act of 2016. This allowed American citizens to sue Saudi Arabia for what happened on 9/11.
Oh,
15 years before. Oh. And they sued them and they got judgments. So this literally gave American citizens the right to sue foreign countries for terrorism. And I don't think
ta-da, legal standing. Ta-da, legal standing. All right, continue.
Anything is more terroristic than the slavery, what we had to do. Nevertheless, like JASTA, this legislation includes a waiver of sovereign immunity, a private right of action. And private right means you can sue it. When you do your history and you do your research and you find out that your great-grandmother was brought to this country, a great-great-grandmother was brought to this country after 1808 in one of those illegal slave ships, and you put the documentation together and you present it to court, and you give grounds for a lawsuit, you have a right to bring forth a claim, okay? As a private citizen. And here's the other thing. I'm proposing a 50-year statute of limitation beginning upon the claimant's discovery of eligibility. What does that mean? What that means is you might not know now.
You might not know you now.
But when you start doing the research, from the time you actually find out and you get that research and you get something in writing and you get the documentation, you have 50 years to sue. You see? The Supreme Court of the United States recently upheld the constitutionality of JASTA in 2023 in Twitter Incorporated versus Tamina 598 US 471 2023. So what I'm trying to explain to you all is this is a legal pathway to get reparations. Isn't that what you want? Yep. Isn't that what y'all want? You say you want reparations. Yep. But some of you all don't have the stomach for it. You're weak, just like many of our ancestors. And I'm not like you. See, let me go ahead and get all into you right now because y'all don't know who you're dealing with. Some of you all are weak. You're soft as cotton swab. You're soft as a wet tissue napkin. Ooh. You're not built like me. You don't want the smoke. You don't have the stomach for it. And people like Harriet Tubman would leave your black behind on the plantations. You're not built for it. So go step yourself aside and let the real hard hitters do what they have to do to get our people reparations. If you're against it, you're a punk. And you always will be a punk. And you should have been left on the plantation.
Run that back, Uncle D. Hold on. You know what? I got all that. Let.
Some of you all are weak.
Yeah.
You're soft as cotton swab. You're soft as a wet tissue napkin. You're not built like me. You don't want the smoke. You don't have the stomach for it. And people like Harriet Tubman would leave your black behind on the plantations. You're not built for it. So go step yourself aside and let the real hard hitters do what they have to do to get our people reparations. If you're against it, you're a punk. And you always will be a punk. And you should have been left on the plantation. It was black men like me who had to come back to the plantation and free your black behind because you wasn't man enough or woman enough to stand up. So I don't want to hear what you have to say. You have no guts. You have no courage. You're a coward. And you don't want to do for your children what your ancestors didn't do for you. But I'm not like you. So shout out to all the other black people who have the stomach for it, who want.
One more time for Uncle D real fast. I mean, that's just the energy right there. I think that's we gotta I think that's what that's where we're at with it.
Wait for it.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, it just comes down to permission. You have to make a decision. That's like, okay, this is either gonna ride this way or you're gonna ride that way. You know, like if you're gonna ride this way, then this is this is the ride that way. I believe this is. This is a like Broken Blade. I mean, look, like we could probably say, think about all the things that we think were conspiracies or were called or named conspiracy theories. And then we look back and all that shit was true. Right? It's not over the top for me to think that there is some group of people in this country, on this planet, that would absolutely love to wipe us off of this earth for real. You know, we've been described as a scourge and things of that nature. You know what I mean? We've been poisoned. We've been experimented on. We've been drafted. We've been harassed. We've been bombed. We've been all of the things that you can kind of do to a group of people. We have absolutely experienced all of those things. They've blown up towns. They've flooded towns. They've run railroads through towns, you know, and all that stuff gets swept under the rug. And, you know, it comes down to we're just complaining. We're just complaining. Right. And
rules to fuck us over.
Right. And
yeah, on top of this.
Right. And I'm just like, you know, it's just, I mean, I understand it, right? Like if I am a non-melanated person and this is my country, then of course I'm not going to kind of openly be like, all right, yeah, y'all got it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. I mean, I don't know, maybe. Right? You would think that they would be like, okay, you got us. All right, we're good. All right, we'll make it right. My bad. Because at least that way you could kind of do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
But I see it happen in one of two different ways here, right? We've seen, I don't know whether it's a spike in Black people defending themselves physically, or whether they just are choosing to show more of it, right? These situations. So like the track meet situation, and then the father that just ran down a random cop recently, right? Like, you know, getting back, like us getting get back. I mean, that's what that shit looks like, right? Right? I mean, like, that's what it is. I mean, the police jump on us the way that they jump on us, that like you're terrorizing a group of people, right? And so what that man did in return was terrorizing those group of people, right? Like now I imagine all of them that are out doing traffic got their head on a swivel. You see what I'm saying? That's the feeling that they're supposed to have. Like that's the result of what he did. Like he ran down a rando. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude was minding his own goddamn business. Every single person over there, whether they want to admit it or not, are looking over both shoulders, checking the street before they walk out, checking both sides before they walk out into the street. No matter what you say, you know, like, same that's what's happening over in Palestine, right? Like everyone was talking shit to Yemen until Yemen put one right next to right in the airport and was like, y'all sure y'all want to get down for real? You know what I mean? All of a sudden everybody's like, oh shit, did they just put that? Did you see the size of that crater? Oh shit. Yemen, my bad. We're good. We're good. It ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? But we're in this situation where these people have been proven to want to like wipe us out for real. And every other group has been paid for wrongs that were done to them. Every other group.
Yeah.
So the idea that I don't know, deserve is not the word I want to use. Earned, right? We've earned what we got coming to us. Our ancestors earned that. Inventions stolen, DNA stolen, intellectual property stolen, patent stolen, land stolen, money stolen. You know what? Is Friedman's Journal still up in here?
Emotional trauma.
Is Friedman's Journal up in here? I wonder if Freedman's Journal is still up in here. Cause you know what? Cause I thought the name of his name, it made me just kind of go back. It made me go back and look at some stuff. You know what I'm saying? And this was an 1899 newspaper article about the failure of Freedman's Bank, of the demolition of the building, monument of a crime, they called it. Department of Justice deserts a fateful building, Washington Post 25, the 25th of June, 1899, failure of Freedman's Bank. You know, and this is just another brick on the wall of things that these people have done to us, and why it's not unthinkable for us to ask for our lick back. Like we are owed money. Check this shit out. Where are we? Let's see here. Beginning of the end, the secret operations, all the secrets of the operations of the bank will never be known, but a strange thing came to pass in 1870 when the movement was made in Congress to amend the charter of the bank to permit investment of the funds in real estate. The charter provided for investment only in government or other easily negotiable securities whose stability could not be questioned. So the rules that they had of the bank were that they could only invest in regular stuff and like not anything that's like some stuff's got to be tangible, right? Because if you got to liquidate that stuff, someone's got to be able to buy it. Okay. And the proposition was made to give the managers the legal privilege of engaging in real estate speculation. It was easily recognized that there was literally a inward in the woodpile. That's quoted, by the way. It's to the lasting credit of Senator Simon Cameron, who had come forth from the furnace of war with something more than a smell of fire in his garments, that he warned that the Senate and the House that such a step would surely mark the beginning of the end of Freedman's Bank. As eloquently as he had ever spoken any subject, he inveighed against the granting of this fatal privilege, telling his own experience with the banks which invested in real estate and found it impossible to realize on their holdings in the time of distress. He made a plain prediction that in the presence of the craze for real estate investment in the fictitious values that were quoted by reason of certain conditions brought about by the existing district government, there would unquestionably be made bad investments and that the institutions would surely be bankrupted. This was the first black person's bank, guys. This is the first black people's bank. This is the first bank black people were allowed to go to, and it was the government that put it in place. So the government gave us our first bank, and then the first bank fucked us. The lobby, that word, that's interesting. Lobby. The lobby in support of the measure was stronger than any warnings of wisdom or experience. The circle of real estate speculators, strong to this day, when any opportunity is presented for large investment of government or banking funds, was at the time in its first mature bloom and vigor. And in the vast monies of Freedman's Savings and Trust Company, they saw the avenue from the sales at enormous profits. Imagine that. For it was well understood that some of the officials of the officials of the concern would not be any too careful in their estimate of the possible future value of squares and lots. Now, I want to just touch this part real quick, but we can just go right to the very end. And I appreciate you guys. Like, I know this is slow, but the reason I'm doing this is because everyone keeps talking about like reparations aren't owed, like transactions weren't made. You know what I'm saying? Like records weren't kept. Yeah. Like people didn't know no money moved around. Insurance was paid, bodies were sold, signatures were done, mail articles were written, pictures were taken. Like, there are facts on the ground. And everyone tries to pretend and act dumb like they don't understand any of this stuff. And I know a bunch of these tethers or people from Africa where you don't know when you were born, or you didn't have a street or a street name, or you don't have a birth certificate. I understand that. I'm American though. And they took real good records over here because we got grown over here. So we understand what it's like to have records. I don't know what happened over there in Africa after we got snatched, but I do know what happened over here since. And I think that if you were born over there and you're recently coming over here, then you should shut the fuck up until you start learning about some of this stuff before you have an opinion about any of this stuff. Any of this stuff. You should probably figure this stuff out, because the crazy part about it, and for all of you, I'm sorry, I've just coughed. I feel the Holy Ghost. For all of y'all blacks that are from here, that are speaking out against reparations, open a fucking book, please. Understand why you are owed reparations. Please pretend. Pick up just this one situation, Broken Blade. All of these blacks were newly free. This is the first money that they had, the first money they were able to earn, their first experience with an actual bank. And this is what they freaking did. It was the first bank in American history that went belly up, stealing our money.
Yeah.
But we're not owed reparations. Man, fuck all of you clowns out there. I'm not going to get specific yet, but y'all you don't know, like do a simple Google search. I'm not even going super deep, guys. I'm not going super deep. I'm not scrolling past the top 10. Google, go. These are sites I've looked up multiple times, and they're exactly in the same place they were when I searched for it the last time. In an incredibly short time, the bank was crippled. Imagine that. Within 4 years of that solemn warning uttered by Senator Cameron on the floors, on the doors of the big brownstone front across the avenue from the north wing of the Treasury Department was closed, and tens of thousands of poor depositors who had placed their savings there were plunged into mourning. Ain't that something? At the time of failure, there were more than 61,000 depositors, and there were due 2 million. Is that 2 million? 2.9 million? How many zeros? Yeah, 2.9 million, almost $3 million. In those days, unless that's a 2, yeah, I imagine that's 2 million total. In those days of June 1874, when it was announced that the bank had failed, there was gloom among the colored population of the country, and no end of stories of scandal everywhere. General Howard was investigated, but he was found. Imagine that. General Howard was investigated, but he was found innocent of any moral or legal obliquity. Okay, just double check, make sure I was reading things properly. Obliquity. Nobody that beautifully indefinite individual was found worthy of blame.
Point.
That's awesome. It was a time of panic. Many banking institutions supposed to be solid had failed. It was a period of fearful turpitude as well. In the church circles, in the Tilton Beecher affair, had shaken the social fabric to its foundation. The boss tweeted revelations were at the front. Pacific Railroad, salary grab, safe burglary. District government affairs were in public mouths all over the country. The failure of the Freedmen's Bank was one but many sensations that shook the public mind and confidence of men who had been at the head of local and national movements. Real quick, shout out to Michael J, bro. Before I shout out, bro, man. Thank all of you guys for coming and hanging out with us. We truly, truly appreciate it. My man. Hoosty says Howard University, bro. There's a whole bunch of them. But here's where did I want to get to? Right about here. Here we go. Early in June 1874, and again, mind you guys, it's like less than 150 years ago. 3 commissioners 150 years ago. 3 commissioners were appointed to take charge of the affairs of the bank. They served until 1881 when the whole business was turned over to the control of the Currency Bureau of the Treasury Department. During the period, 5 dividends were declared amounting to $1,822,753. Of this sum, there was paid $1.6 million nearly. All of the remainder was barred by the Act of Congress in February 1881, and out of the nearly $3 million, there was therefore been paid only a little more than $1.5 million. Hundreds of colored men in the District of Columbia can testify to the bankruptcy of the institution. I imagine that they paid out to people that, I don't know, it's more like them first, huh? And then they gave us what was left. That's essentially what was being said there. So we got what was left.
Yeah, your microphone's muffled.
Okay, I said we got what was left. That's what they just gave us what was left. Interesting. The one who now is a doorkeeper, one of the departments tells a writer how he had risen to the distinction of a contractor at the time of the boom in the street building of Shepherd regime, how the failure crippled him so that he could not pay his men, and how it finally resulted in his financial ruin. As an ex-slaveholder tells a pathetic story of one of the trusted servants of his household who, within a few years after the war, was wearing fine clothes and boasted of hundreds of dollars he had deposited in Freedman's Bank. He had almost starved himself and his family in an effort to get rich. Every dollar was swept away, and he gave up the game and died of a broken heart. The wreck and ruin that followed the cyclone of failure cannot be described in a library full of volumes. The Congress has, up to the present time, refused to appropriate money to reimburse the sufferers, most of whom who are now beyond the reach of perfunctory relief. Imagine that. Once a year, the comptroller of the currency makes a report upon the condition of the bank, a fine travesty which finds no echo of applause. This is an old story. This story is not new. This story is not new. But I don't know. Like I said, they paid the small acts. They paid the Japanese. They paid the Chinese. They even paid slave holders in the South. They gave reparations to slave holders. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's weird that people would have a problem with this. Like, the only reason why you would have a problem with this is if you wanted to get closer to white daddy. Or mommy and daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the only reason why you would do that, I think. I could be wrong. And for you to, like, to perpetuate the tropes, all you're going to do is just buy some Jordans and Cadillac, is really distasteful. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, bro?
I agree completely. Because the man's starved with his family, hoping for a better future. And sadly, he found out what many have found out about the American dream is just that.
I mean,
they'll bend these rules, break them as they see fit.
They pretty much do. They've proven that they can do that. They've absolutely proven that they can absolutely do that for sure. as well. I don't know. Like I said, man, my whole issue about all of this is that there's just a whole bunch of people that have these really strong opinions and not even done the least amount of work. And I don't mean just like you don't have to be a super duper researcher or anything. Just have at least a remedial understanding of what happened. Right? We're experiencing people that don't even have a remedial understanding of what happened. Like you don't know how it worked. You don't know how the money worked. You don't know how the money moved. You didn't make any kind of you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so if you don't know how any of that stuff worked or how it affected people, how could you say that these people don't deserve or aren't owed a debt? And like, say it with your chest. And the only reason why you would, especially if the people that look like, if the people look like you, is if you're trying to get closer to the other side, which I understand. I get it. Just say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't hide from it.
Yeah.
Don't hide from it, because like an obvious wrong has been done here. And it's the funny part about it is, see, and this is where white folks are fucking up. Okay. White folks are fucking up right here. Here's where white folks are fucking up. Because the more time that goes by, they think that they're just going to keep kicking the can down the road, and black people are just going to get watered down. What's going to happen is there's going to be a handful that are still like can track their roots all the way straight back to them plantations with no other groups of people in that are like strong, like this whole damn family on both sides come from slavery or whatever. And then they're going to hit them in the pockets in the worst kind of way. And then the floodgates are going to open. You can't hide it for forever. You can try. Think about it. They've been trying to erase this bullshit since the beginning, Wilkie Wade. Like, if they could have been like, we're just going to X-nay on the reparations, X-nay on the reparations, We just keep. If they could have completely done that, they would have. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason why they can't is because you have to admit to what happened. And they don't want to admit to what happened, but we got all this documentation that shows what happened. Until they admit what happened, they're never going to be able to get rid of this. They'll never. And what's happened is the more onions get peeled back, you start to realize how treacherous these people were, how nasty they were, how just disgusting they were. And we're going to find out how ugly this big hairy pair of balls is.
And the argument that, the state spends the most money on us due to like welfare and imprisonment. Like, it's statistically proven that more white people are on Section 8 welfare than black people.
Absolutely.
And one of the main reasons that black people are hyper targeted from prisons is due to the prison industrial complex. Slavery still exists, but under a different name.
100%. These were money making sources. Like, these are money making sources. They all have bro. Have you ever gotten a chance to go to Google or Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah.
Like, have you go to one of their offices? Like one of the Google offices? It's cool. It's cool. Like, they're usually pretty big. They got these big, they used to have these big food courts in them and big play areas and like chill areas in them. And they would have these little like phone booths where you could like work with your laptop in soundproof booths or take phone calls and have total privacy. Those are all over. And then you've got big tables where you can rent those rooms and have like big group meetings, like you're 10, 12, 15, 20 people sometimes, big tables like that. And you got all this stuff. And then you've got caterers that come and do the thing. And then you've got like cleaning crews. They come and they kind of do the thing. And then you've got like the mail rooms. The mail room's got to come, and you've got your own security, and you've got all of your own stuff. And then you've got your tech guys, and you've got your administrators. But what they try to do is they try to have everything there. They call it a campus. So you can come and you don't have to leave. and you can just work. You could just work and keep working and keep working and keep working. What does that sound like? A fucking plantation. It's the same. It's literally the exact same system, bro. NFL, it's
EA, Electronic Arts, same thing. Have a weight room, playroom, same thing.
They keep everything. They don't want you to leave.
And they're known. What are the companies? Them and Ubisoft, two game companies known for working with dog shit and other people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same. Different name, but it's the same. It's the same. Now, you know, people will say, oh, well, you got jobs and whatever. Okay, I get it. I understand. I'm just saying conceptually, you've got a business that's running and it helps it. In order to keep it running, you have to have all of these other services close. You have to have all these. No, and again, look. Not everything is slavery. Not everything. But just the structure, how you get the most labor out of, you know, like you try to get the most labor. If you want to get the most labor out of your people, this is how you do it. You house them and you clothe them and you teach them a skill and then you put them on the line. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same thing. Now, the question becomes, are you getting paid properly? You know what I mean? Based on what you're doing. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what I do know is that Dre says that we're owed about $10 to $14 trillion in reparations from U.S. chattel slavery. And there's no African country that can come up with 14 trillion USD. I understand that. We could take an IOU. Nah, hell no. We got to take some. They got to sell their property or something. They got to come off some. They got to sell their land to their neighbor and pay us. I don't even want that land over there. I'm good over there. I'm good. I mean, the issue is the security issue, bro. That's the issue over there. You know, we talk about it all the time. Like the issue, the part that wigs me out is like, as much as they snatch us up over here, this is different. This is a wild, wild west over there. You know what I'm saying?
There's cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like process.
Power, toilets. I mean, shout out to my Africans. I mean, I'm talking about out in the bush. I'm not talking about in the cities. Yeah, or like in the general. Shout out to Africa. And actually shout out to Dre. Yeah, that's the number, plus or minus. We're in the trillions for sure. And it needs to, you know, but the longer it goes, I think the worse it's going to be. You know, I don't know if that means that like a handful of black families will end up getting the majority of the whatever is left. I don't know if that's how it'll work. If I had to say how it would work, I would assume that would be how it worked. Like your people whose families who you could trace the closest without having too many, you know, people marrying in or getting into the family, those strongest lineages should go to the front of the line, in my opinion. Oh, see, there we go. Boom. What are we talking about? What y'all talking about? They got it. Don't let them act like they ain't got it. They got it.
I think you brought that up before. In lieu of straight money, assets.
Yeah. I'll take uranium. I'll take some plutonium. You know what I'm saying? I'll take some uranium. I will. Game at the same time. That's all good. Precious minerals, diamonds, oils, gold will do. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Brothers refer to a job as a slave ship back in the day. Hey, look. Okay. Check this out. Say you're an engineer, Broken Blade, and you've pinpointed a particular couple bits of code that's just right up your alley, right? it's just a little side hustle thing. Maybe it's just like a weird way that data has been sent back to, you know, a little bit of piece of code that earns your company. Say you work for Schmoogle, okay? So Broken Blade works for Schmoogle, and Broken Blade created this little bitty piece of code that ends up making the company an extra $1 trillion. We'll say $1 billion say an extra $1 billion because of a piece of code that you wrote, but they only pay you $150,000 a year. Now, $150,000 a year is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Almost
but you just put, but if you can actually prove that a thing that you did put $1 trillion in the till, how do you feel about that $150,000?
Disappointing.
Like you can actually prove that this thing that I did made you $1 trillion. How do you feel about your $150,000?
Schmoogle might be seeing me in court.
Ooh, Schmoogle might be seeing you in court. You take Schmoogle to court. You'd be like, yo, that's. But what if they say, hey, you signed an NDA and all of your IP belongs to us?
Fuck that. Father lawyer, man, like see like how much of that is legal, because again, not even Supreme Court reads all of those
NDAs and stuff.
Yeah, all those corporate nonsense, like they be throwing in shit that's not even legal. So
interesting. The reason I put it like that is because, you know, Facebook, like the amount of money that Facebook brings in is just astronomical. The amount of money that Google brings in is astronomical. And so if you think that like they'll pay you 50, 60, 70, 108, $100,000, your management, $160,000, $170,000 a year, if they are willing to pay you that, you can't even imagine what they're making on the front end and on the back end. And so to us right now, maybe it seems like, oh, that's a great living. But maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's actually slave labor. Like it's like slave wages. You see what I'm saying? Like, because our concept of money is like skewed because of like where we live and what we do. I started really thinking about that because when they announced that Traore over there, they're like out of debt. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's just only been over there for 2 years. Oh, so they stopped the bleeding by kicking the French out, figured out how to refine their own products, bought a bunch of tractors, and all of a sudden they're solvent. Like, wait, what? How did that happen? Okay, so wait a minute. If they could do that in Podunk, Africa with no goddamn power sources and all that shit, then what the hell are we doing? I'm like, oh, so they're stealing a lot of money. Like they're taking a lot of money, is what I'm saying. And for them saying like, oh, we ain't got it. It's like, yo, you got it, but we're just going to have to take it. I get it. I see you. We're just going to have to take it. But shout out to Hootie. Where am I? Oh yeah, sorry. Shout out to Hootie. Precious minerals, diamonds, oil, and gold will do. I will take things. My brother from another mother, boy, he was fired up last night. I talked to him after we got off the broadcast. It was good. It was good. Good times. Anyways, Broken Blade, you know, I think we covered a lot. I think I wanted to just shore up that argument for reparations. Thank Mr. Spurling, thank Uncle D for laying it out the way that he did and just making it so that it's, you know, we could take it in bite-sized pieces. Those are 3 different clips, 3 different videos. I put those in the description. If you're curious to know what he said or you want to run that back, look in the description of this video. You'll find it there. The 3 videos that we took. And again, he drafted legislation to be presented to the president. It's like, hey man, let's go. Like, let's and look, man, look, I'm not good with Twitter. I'm still figuring out YouTube. Okay. Let's start sharing these videos so they at least Like, let's flood the zone. Flood the zone. Like, who cares if anybody sees it or not? 1 view, 2 views, post the same video 2 different times, right? Flood the zone, as I think what we need to do. Flood the zone so that people can't not see us. That's how it's got to go. Like, flood the zone with nothing but positivity. Flood the zone. Make it so that the freaking algorithm is like, what in the hell is wrong with these dudes? They keep uploading shit. They keep sharing things. Stop it. Like, we should annoy people. Right? Like that's I think how we're going to have to grow. We're going to have to flood the zone and full blown blitz everything. That's what I think needs to happen. Broken Blade, what are your thoughts, man, before we get up out of here, sir?
It's a movie I made mention of before. Have you seen a movie called Angel Heart?
Angel Heart. I don't think so.
80s noir / psychological thriller. Simply put, takes place in the 1930s. A detective from New York, he's hired to go to New Orleans to find a singer.
Okay.
As he's investigating this guy, he finds out this guy was into some really sketchy shit, like some dark voodoo stuff, black magic, all of this other weird shit. And the people he interviews all end up like popping up dead. He comes to realize this singer basically he made a deal with the devil, sold his soul for singing skills.
Gotcha. Yeah.
For fame.
Yeah.
And to attempt to get out of paying this part of the bargain, he got a army vet drunk and performed the ritual on ripping out his heart and eating it whole. And this detective the whole time was the singer in question.
Whoa.
Great movie. But yeah, like this is
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Me is an allegory of how I see the U.S. trying to deal with the issue of reparations. Doing whatever they can to cast off this debt that is owed. Well, shout out to Mr. Dennis Spurling. He's gave them the out. They have the proxy. They can save their souls. I don't think a lot of people understand why most black people are expected to vote Democrat. Many of us were Republican for centuries, up until FDR, who got in on the campaign making many promises that he'd help us out using New Deal programs. Once he got in power, anytime he so much as implied that he would help us out, congressmen would complain, he would turn chicken shit. Among the New Deal programs put into place was the Homestead Act, which granted lands to families, laying a foundation for generational white wealth that excluded Black and Indigenous people. These homesteaders, some of them were able to sell their plots to corporations and use that money to establish the capital. You covered the story of the Freedmen's Journal, Freedmen's Bank. Mm-hmm. How African Americans moved in good faith, trying to build something for themselves, and were robbed.
Literally.
Reparations given to Japanese, Chinese, small hats, slave owners. Now, to the people here that see where we're coming from, shout out to y'all. But to the detractors, Mr. Spurling is giving us a roadmap to get to us what is owed. And you want to insult. He had the audacity, some of you, to call him a coward. Yet he shows his face and uses his real name.
That part.
Call him a failed lawyer. I'll post the link in the back chat if you'd be so kind to open that.
Okay.
Mr. Holden.
Yes, sir, I got you. Bip. Hold on, I got you. I got you. I got you. I like what you're doing here, sir. Here we go. Bip.
I've been sitting on this for a minute, bro.
Bip. Okay.
How many failed lawyers can say that they've been inducted into their law school's Hall of Fame? Coward. Anybody that's been on this channel seen multiple videos, him practicing boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
Training his sons up. I remember him posting a community post looking for someone to teach his kids how to use firearms.
Yup.
He is a warrior and he's raising warriors. Who the fuck are you?
Yup.
If you don't agree with how he's moving, you're entitled to your opinion, but hold your peace. At least make the illusion of solidarity, of respect. No, fuck it. No, do exactly that. Please keep attacking. Expose yourselves. Let us know exactly who's disloyal, who's untrustworthy.
Yeah.
So when the day comes when the system turns on you, and it absolutely will, don't say shit when those that are us that are on code turn our backs and let it happen. I'll land my point there.
That's what's up, man. For those, look, man, there's gonna be hate. There's haters. There's haters. And we don't respect those that don't show their face. We understand some people can't show their face. I understand that. But if you can't show your face, understand that there's some parts of the internet you just shouldn't go. This is one of them.
Facts.
One area where you shouldn't go. This is one of them. There's a particular stance or an attitude that you just can't have because you know what? There's nobody, you can't look somebody else in the face. You got to hide. And I understand you got to hide. I understand there are some people that have to hide. Like they're soft. They're not built tough. They're not, you know, their skin is thin. You know, their voices are high. You know, there's no hair on their chest. Their balls haven't dropped. There are those out there. And I understand that. I understand that. Right. And not everybody's going to be able to make it. But you have to understand that you don't want this kind of attention. We're the nice guys that come before the other guys come. We're the nice guys. We're the ones that don't use bad language for the most part, and we don't use the N-word. We just fight and use pew-pews, but we're not the internet guys for real. We're the warning before the internet guys come and start tearing shit up and exposing stuff and making people look dumb. Yeah, I mean, we're above that kind of stuff, but we know people that are not. You see what I'm saying? We operate up here because we learn stuff over here. This is a learning space, but we understand that there is mud. Not all of us see. That's the thing, Broken Blade. See, I don't think they understand that. We understand now that there's tools. There's different tools for different jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like Uncle D might be the aircraft carrier, you know what I'm saying? And we might be the destroyers, but there's some submarines out there. There's some submarines out there that are deadly, that are lurking, that just pop up in places where you might not know they are. And they start getting information and digging into your background and talking shit and making videos and then clipping you up and making you look dumb. And nobody wants that.
Indeed.
Nobody wants that. But anyway, hopefully this warning shot is being heard and felt before things get too serious. Because, you know, it would suck if, you know, internet beef's just not good. It's bad for business. It's bad for reputation. It's bad for all that stuff. You know,
name Mike comes to mind. I'll leave it at that.
What's that?
The name Mike comes to mind. I'll leave it at that.
There it is. That's one example. But anyways, I'm gonna go on ahead and let Uncle D take y'all up out of here real quick. and for all the haters, shout out to yo mama.
Listen to me.
Shout out to yo mama.
Some of y'all can't help it. Some of y'all can't help tricking. Some of y'all got a soft spot for hoes. Why? Because she was raised by a hoe. Damn, Uncle D just called my mama a hoe. Yes, your mama is a hoe too. Your mama's a hoe. Your grandmama's a hoe.
I got up the camera, but don't call me no hoe.
All your sisters and your aunties are hoes.
I'm not a hoe, and I'm not a list. I'm a list of hoes.
You don't believe me? Go ask your mama how many abortions she had.
5 abortions.
Go ahead. She might have 1 or 2 kids. How many abortions did she have?
Times I've had friends, I've had an abortion. I'll speak about that openly. I was 19 years old. I still sit with the grief of that. I sit with the shame of that. It's very nuanced. It doesn't mean if we make that choice, it doesn't mean we're happy about it.
Your mama's a hoe too. Your mama was a hoe in the 70s and the 80s and
What happened to my $100, Joe? Did you take my money?
Yeah, here's $2. Go get you some dish pie and keep it clean for me next time.
You know what the I'm talking about. Stop lying. You knew what your mama was doing when Mr. Larry came through and put you in the front room with your little Atari game and your little earphones on with your little tape. You knew what your mama was doing in there, boy. You probably went in there and peeped in the window and she looked under the goddamn floorboard, the door to see what the is going on. Why mama in there making all that noise?